but we can slide on here and talk about this one really quickly. Again, back to the EA investor, whatever the thing that they did this week, some investor conference or whatever, but they did have a quick talk about generative AI in their business model. And again, after a first comment from Andrew Wilson saying generative AI is at the very core of our business, CEO Andrew Wilson said that, of course, and EA's chief strategy officer Mahir Vaidya, apologize if I butchered that name, but he basically did a whole little demonstration for 5 minutes about the generative AI in EA's processes to kind of like supercharge user created content, or UGC or UGX, whatever you want to refer to it as, and just talking about how they can just kind of make different games with prompts and all that stuff using EA assets and all that. So basically, this is just a big statement of we're going to try and make AI as close to our business model as possible. How do you feel about this?
When the fuck was that part of the business model? What do you mean it's at the core? When did it get to the core? What was at the core before we even knew what AI was?
As soon as motherfuckers started putting money into it, as soon as they realized they can do shit on the cheap.
Okay, so one, you're full of shit. It was never at the core. You want to fire people. That's what you want to do. You want to cut down on what you need to, on how much money you need to spend. One, and then two, if EA does AI as well as EA does video games, we will be the devs will be safe. It will actually work in the benefit of the devs, because EA, if you guys can't even make regular video games, like what video games are you going to teach it to make, or what are you going to teach the AI how to do? Make another Battlefield 2042? I don't know what it's going to learn from, but I feel like you guys need to learn before the AI can be taught. It just doesn't. Sure. EA, you would be better off just, I don't know, paying your developers more. You'd be better off having a better business in general. If you want to waste your money and time, sure, man, by all means, I guess. I just think it's lazy. I think maybe this is a crazy concept. We focus on making a good product as opposed to making the product easier to make. Maybe let's get some quality in before we start worrying about trying to turn our devs into self-checkout machine.
Interesting, man. Fig, how you feeling about this presentation and the declarative statement on their stance with AI?
I think is actually very amusing, and not for a reason that you guys talked about. Since this was a investor call type of statement that he was making during this time, that statement was not for the gaming media or the gamers. That statement was for the investors that don't know the difference between AI, crypto, or Google. So the thing is, if you listen to a lot of these investor calls, AI is the big thing. Invest in AI, invest in AI, invest in AI. These investor guys only care about what they think is going to be the next big thing that's going to bring them billions of dollars in their pocket. And AI is the thing that it is right now. So if you are a CEO of a tech corporation, and all these companies are technically tech corporations, and you're on an investor call, what is the easiest way to get investors in to put money into your company is tell them that you're doing AI in some way. They don't need to know what you're doing AI for. You just got to say AI is the future of our business, is a core of what we do, and all this other BS. And the investors will just clap along. If you ever want to lose brain cells, just listen to any investor call, not just the big statements. Listen to the call, listen to the stuff that people call in. It is the wild, especially in the video game space. It will blow your mind how people who have millions of dollars invested in a game will literally say stuff like, "Is Spider-Man in the game?" And they'll be like, "No, sir. This is a racing game." And because that person has been on 15 other investment calls about 15 other companies that they put their money into, because at the end of the day, it's not about the game. They don't care about the game. They care about what is going to be the return on their investment. And if they do not hear AI as part of that return on that investment, then they're like, oh, you're behind the ball. So therefore, I don't want to put future money in. So that's, I think, something that people kind of forget in this space. Do I also believe that he is going to try to force feed AI into every little aspect of the course? Yes, of course, he's going to 100% do that, and it's going to fall flat in the face, just like crypto was trying to be force fed into games for a short period of time, just like NFTs were force fed into games for a short period of time. AI is going to have longevity. It's because it's an actual tool. It's not just some quick seam. It's an actual tool. But that statement was for the investors that do not know jack. They just want to know whatever they're investing in has AI attached, because quote unquote that's the future, and they want to be on. They know if they put enough investments into one of these tech companies dealing with AI, one of them's going to blow up and make them ultra rich.
Yep. No, facts. That is definitely a perspective we got to keep in mind of. Like, they're talking to the motherfuckers who got their money in this company, and they just want to say the buzzwords that they really want to hear. That is very true. They want to make sure that, oh yeah, we're giving you guys what you want. We're going to be on the up and up on the latest and greatest. So whenever there's potential money to be made in frontiers that we haven't heard of yet, we'll be the first ones there to make that money for you, so you get your dividends right. Like, that's really what it is. That's all the senseless babble that it is. But beyond that, what they actually showed and stuff like that, I just think it's funny when they use, again, the battlefield assets and some of these other things. There was like, make a maze, and I'm like, bro, there was no walls in this motherfucker. I could see you from the top of that thing. It wasn't really a maze at all. One, just kind of showing how like wonky this shit is. I'm like, let's just call a spade for one. Generally, AI is already used. Again, AI has been used for decades in fucking gaming. That's just how it is. We get it. Generative AI is the thing that we're focused on in terms of what it actually impacts in terms of what's it called? Undercutting actual developers and what they do. Does it actually enhance their work? Can it help them, or is it replacing them? And this is where I'm like, okay, we need to kind of put a line in the sand. I hope certain things do fall flat in his face, so we can properly apply how it can help and enhance the development process. Like, if there are some tedious processes in there, and we've said this before, if there's some tedious processes that are like laden in the development stage, like, oh, well, whatever, you gotta like, oh, repeat 800 of these shadows in this certain way or this orientation. I'm bullshit. I don't necessarily know what goes into it like that, so bear with me, please. Like, oh, if I gotta repeat this one process 800 times, if I can do that through AI, and I set the template and they just follow that down, and that's my one little section done, and it saves the developer time, cool. I'm fine with generative AI being a helpful assistant to this process. But the moment people overstate and overinflate its importance and capability to create novel and alluring experiences is where I draw that line. Because you're not going to tell me some random dude, you know what I'm saying, Skylar and Derek from what's it called, from Iowa, they're going to put in a prompt talking about, make me a 1v1 FPS map for a game. Make me a character, blah, 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 and they post that thinking it's gonna be the next big hit. No, there's more shit that goes into it than just you putting something into a prompt. There's more thought, effort, and actual, you know what I'm saying, nous that goes into it. I understand giving people tools to help, but I just think there's a certain weight of importance of actually creating the art, actually understanding the craft, and going from there that makes a game good. And just generative AI and trying to push that as the standard that may be an alternative to devs, no, there's nothing that can replace a smart dev, a dev that knows what they want, a dev that knows how to create and craft a world and build experiences, gameplay loops, systems to support that world. There's nothing that will ever replace that, in my opinion. So them pushing this and them showing that demonstration is just like, it's again, it's more continual sour taste in my mouth, because I'm like, bro, there's like 8 companies that did stupid shit this week, and then EA's like, man, we the OGs of this shit. I started this. You was born in the you thought you was born in the darkness, man. You merely adopted the dark. I was here in the trenches being an asshole company. I was doing this from the beginning. It's just wild to me, man.
Yeah, it's 100%. And you know, at the end of the day, AI is also in this very weird state. Generative AI is this weird state because it has to take information from somewhere, and it is going to come to a point, because right now it's the Wild West.
Yep.
The laws are going to be put in place of how the AI pulls that, acquires that information, and it's going to be a big wake up call if lawsuits and legal things come that put a halt to them scraping entire Reddit websites and stuff, because all it will take is a couple people or hundreds of people doing class actions and say, hey, I'm an artist that posts stuff on Reddit, but that property is still mine, it's not yours. And then they start arguing legal contract law of the toss that they signed when they joined Reddit gives them right of their property, you know, like actual right of the property. Yeah. And in this particular setting, or other things in that nature. So what happens if those laws start getting passed, and all of a sudden you have companies like EA who are using generative AI, that now the generative AI model has nothing to process through, or more importantly, they do, but it's going to be like a Shutterstock situation. You got to go to the company that they license these things.
That data for you.
And that data for you, and then it becomes an extra cost. You know, so those are things that people aren't thinking of ahead, because that's all it takes. That's all it's going to take, is if the laws and protection of people's rights and property and stuff get tightened up, and the generative AI can't scrape anymore. People always forget. People think computers are smart. Computers are stupid. Computers only know what you give them. If generative AI has nothing to pull from, it's going to stare at you blankly. Facts. So that's just the way it is. And like I said, AI is not going anywhere. This is not NFTs. This is not crypto. AI is the future. It is going to play a strong portion in all our lives in every single aspect. And I'm not anti-AI itself. It's just more of, we need to sew up where the information is coming from and how it's used. Because right now it's just the Wild West.
Facts. I agree. It's the application and efficacy, making sure this shit is sustainable and there is a healthy way of handling this information without crossing bounds that it doesn't need to. Because again, you're right, they're running away with this shit. They're trying to make sure all their internal AI models and stuff are good, and they're scrubbing everything from cat videos to MKBHD shit. They getting everything. They piling all that shit up, and it doesn't matter who shits in the wild. They're taking it and they're making their AI models with it. And it's like, bro, it's crossing so many lines to try and just be a viable solution. People are so hell-bent on trying to make this thing replace the artist and replace the developer that it's just creating such a weird rift, and it's not going to be able to solve shit in the end. This is something that's unachievable, bro. To me, but they're gonna try and ruin as much shit as possible trying to make it happen. They'll die trying, and they'll ruin as many lives. They'll lay off as many people as they want trying to get towards that outcome. And it's just something that can't stand. We gotta find the healthy bounds, man. We gotta find the healthy bounds. Simple as that.